I'd like to call to order the Liberal City Commission meeting for this Tuesday, December the 12th. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Denoyer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Aragon.
Here.
Commissioner Carlisle.
Here.
Commissioner Harrison.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
All right, will everyone please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation as given by Pastor Rex Petty of Faith Tabernacle Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, the privilege to come and pray tonight. And let's bow for a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. Lord, we thank you for the sunshine and the blue sky and just the warmth of the day. We pray, Lord, that the presence of your Spirit will warm this room tonight as well and make it a good meeting, a constructive meeting. And bless all of our commissioners tonight, Lord. I pray you'll give them wisdom, the wisdom of Solomon. And I pray, Lord, you'll give them the patience of Job and the love of Christ. And Lord, I pray that you will just pour out your Spirit during this Christmas season. And we thank you for our commissioners. Give them good health and strength and bless them with a good Christmas, a Merry Christmas, a Christ-filled Christmas. Bless our city manager, Mark Hall, and all the employees of this great city. Help them, Lord, in all of their work and their jobs and to make this city of Liberal a great place to live. We thank you, Lord, for the privilege and the honor to be alive for such a time as this. May the joy of the Lord be our strength. For it's in the precious name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
First item on the agenda is awards, proclamations, and presentations. And at this time, we will award our 2017 service awards. The City of Liberal recognizes employees at distinct milestones during their careers. Service awards are given to employees after 10 years and 25 years of service. This year, I am honored to present this year's service awards to the following employees. And as your name is called, can you please come to the front? Christopher Ewalt, Golf Course, 10 years of service. Darla Harper, Building and Code Enforcement, 10 years of service. Karen Lafreniere, Housing, 10 years of service. Kent McCarter, Building Maintenance, 10 years of service.
Attaboy, Kent.
Joshua Olson, Police Department, 10 years of service. Please, if you could help me and just get in line to the way I called your names, all right?
You're going to mess him up.
All right, Dallas Ryan, Police Department, 10 years of service. David Sheldon, Solid Waste Department, 10 years of service. Christy Starr, Recreation Department, 10 years of service. Chris Vermillion, Golf Course, 10 years of service. David Villa, Street Department, 10 years of service. Joanna Voss is not here tonight, Water Department, 10 years of service. Mark West, Liberal Police Department, 10 years of service. And Martin Zuniga, Street Department, ladies and gentlemen, 25 years of service. And I think some of you out there are wondering that maybe I forgot somebody. And I know she would be the last one that would want to receive special recognition. But this employee holds a sweet spot in my heart. And it has been a pleasure to work with her over the last 10 years. Please give a warm welcome to Harriet Gick, Mid-America Air Museum, 10 years of service. Thank you for your service. Just to make sure. Carolyn, thank you. Karen, thank you for your dedication to the city. Ken, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Alice isn't here, right? Okay, that's yours. I knew this was in Dallas. Okay, David.
David B. Yes.
You look in the badge though, sir. Christie, thank you. Mark, thank you for your dedication to the city. Joaquin, 25 years. Thank you. This one is not going to get away with just a handshake. And Mark is not here. I thought Mark was here. Saw Mark earlier. Martine, that one's yours. That one is yours. Here it is.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you, cherish you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As city employees, these individuals represent the City of Liberal in a highly professional manner. They are respected by their peers and other city departments. The City of Liberal and the community are proud to have you on our team. On behalf of the City Commission and city staff, we thank you for your dedicated work and making Liberal a great place to live and work. Thank you and congratulations on this employment milestone. Thank you. And you might all want to check your certificates, make sure you got the right ones. I believe at this time I will turn things over to Police Chief Sill.
Commissioners, it's been a tradition of ours and an honor to deliver a parting gift for our sitting commissioners when they depart from the commission. Dave, you've been down this road before, so pretty well know the drill. I know you have 2 more commission meetings left. I will not be available for the December 26th meeting and the January 8th meeting. I don't know how many of you are going to play hooky, so I figured tonight would be the best night to deliver to you a parting gift of appreciation. 10 years ago, if you remember, we set out on a mission to improve the quality of life in Liberal. With your support, your help, and your guidance, I think we've done that. But I think we've exceeded our expectations. I think we've exceeded the community's expectations. You guys have been tremendous commissioners. Your hard work and support has allowed all of city staff to do their job, do it well. On behalf of the police department, I especially want to thank you for the support you've given us. It's been unwavering, unquestionable, and very much appreciated. So with that, I want to give each of you a little gift, a token of our appreciation. Quite honestly, I think these are pretty special. Hopefully you'll use these in your trophy case. Dave, you're going to have to build a trophy case.
I understand. My wife will throw it at me.
On them, it just talks about our appreciation and the dates that you've been on the commission. Especially what I like about them, if you'll notice, they reflect a blue up through the crystal. We chose that color as a semblance to police department. We can get them in a variety of colors, but we felt that would be the most appropriate. So with that, I give each of you a nice parting gift, and thank you once again for everything that you've done for us.
Thank you.
Dean, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
You guys did wonderful.
Thank you.
Here, I'll make sure.
Since you got a cold. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very
I
nice.
only regret that I never asked for the helicopter that I promised I would. Hopefully
You've
the
asked.
commission will get that.
You've asked.
All right, next item up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve as presented, or?
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
A motion by Commissioner Harrison with a second by Commissioner Carlisle. Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item up on the agenda is agenda item number 3, approval of the November 28th regular meeting minutes. If you look in your packets, there's a correction as there were 2 number 15s listed. One should be a 15, one should be a 14?
16.
16, 15, and 16. So I would entertain a motion to approve the November 28th regular meeting minutes as amended, unless if there were any other amendments.
I approve the November 28th, 2017 regular meetings as it's been amended.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Carlisle, second by Vice Mayor Martinez. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item on the agenda is items from citizens. Are there any citizens in the audience that would like to address the commission on non-agenda items? Please come forward, state your name and address in an audible tone as I read the rules. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized by the chair. Advance to the podium, state his or her name and address in an audible tone for the record. Presentations shall be limited to 5 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they're brought to the floor. Please state your name and address.
Rita Isaacs, 406 Princeton. I would like to get this over, and I know you have the fastest gavel in the West, and so I want to get started here. The facts are, we had real fast new contract, and I have not been allowed to discuss it. It's coming out in the paper, I think, because the way I've been addressing it. But I've gone further this week. I've contacted the city managers of Garden, Dodge, and Hutchinson. And I found out the pay rates and salary ranges are also set up by the employers, which would be the city, recognize the level of education, knowledge, skill, and experience needed to perform these jobs and must relate to the accomplishments and goals of their mission and vision. I found out, I reread Earl Watts' editorial, and I wanted to refresh my memory. I was not allowed to ask things, and so I put it a certain way. I thought this would be over by now. So I called Human Resources. No one else can come up with the pay raise. I'll get this straight here so I don't get it wrong. Only the councilman can. No one else can. Human Resources cannot. And so I called this Garden City, Matt Allen. He has the Bachelor of Arts, Master of Public Administration. He makes $134,742.40 plus benefits. Dodge City, Cerise Teben, $126,297. And staff did not know her education. I couldn't find out about yours either, Mr. Hall. I spoke to Mr. John Deardoff. He has a Bachelor of Science. He's from Hutchinson. Masters of Urban Affairs, Public Administration, graduate of Leadership, Kansas. He makes $160,020. He gets $22,000 a year package for 401k. He has been there 13 years. He couldn't quit laughing when I told him what your new contract was going to be. And so I went back there and I looked again, and when you went out to your extended session, no one had anything. But all of a sudden we came back with this. According to Mr. John, he said he got his evaluation papers today. All the councilmen have to have a copy of the forms. They have to look at them, evaluate everything, and then when everybody gets it done, then they get it presented to a council. They will be reviewed by the mayor, vice mayor, city attorney, and compared to each other what they think should be. And when they all agree and the final findings are presented, he gets his raise. About 3, sometimes 4%, which is a lot less than what you're making, and that's for sure. This has all been fact. Now, I go back to my usual, theoretically speaking. Mr. Hall, none of this has come, all of a sudden you went back there and you came back with these things here. According to what this says, you could not go back there and all of a sudden just, everything just fall into lap. These things, your contract had to be thought about. Your councilman all said they knew nothing about it. And yet it was prepared, typed, printed out, and into the forms, and your secretary had it in your hand to walk back there. No one had any idea that you were getting this. So how did you come about to get this type of a raise?
Again, Ms. Isaacs, I'll remind you that all of that was discussed in executive session, which is, stays in executive session.
Well, according to Mr. Watt, that didn't have to stay in executive. Just the education, I couldn't find that, Mr. Hall. What is your professional education to make this kind of money?
Bachelor of Science and Business Administration.
Science and Business Administration?
Administration.
Okay. Okay. Well, if this is comparison, none of these 3 people could understand how.
Ma'am, that is
make
time.
kind of
That is
money.
your 5 minutes. Thank you.
Well, I'll be back in 2 weeks. Merry Christmas.
All right, is there anybody else who would like to address the commission on non-agenda items? All right, please come forward, state your name and address in an audible tone for the record.
Evening, everybody. My name is Matt Quinn with the Liberal Rec Department. I'm here tonight to introduce our new adult sports supervisor, Jacob Riemann from Dora, Kansas. Hello.
Squeeze his neck, he'll talk. There you go.
Just want everybody to get to know him a little bit. Say hi.
He's the adult what?
Sports supervisor.
Yes.
Welcome, Jacob.
Welcome.
You're from Eudora. We sent
Yes.
Gary Scott to Eudora, and you've come, we just kind of swapped places, huh?
Well, I'm from Eudora, but I actually just recently came back from Arizona, so took this job to be at least somewhat closer to home.
Oh, welcome aboard, sir. All right, anyone else like to address the commission on non-agenda items? Seeing none, move on to groups. Any groups in the audience like to address the commission on non-agenda items? Again, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed are to consider to be routine by the City Commission and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a commission member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. We just have 6A, which is cereal malt beverage licenses for the Best Market, Circle K, Dow's Convenience Store, El Primo Restaurant, Grand Buffet, Love's Country Store, number 24, Love's Country Store 632, Taquero El del Jalisco, You Pump It 205, You Pump It 219, and Walgreens store number 10722.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Harrison.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Martinez. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item will be item number 7, which is Resolution 2272, which corrects the environmental abatement from last meeting. Mr. Reidenstein?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, at the last meeting on November 28th, I brought before you Resolution number 2272, which was the environmental abatement to demolish a trailer located at 2500 Northwestern Lot number 91. Upon you did vote to approve this, upon filing this with the Register of Deeds for the county, it was mentioned by them that the resolution did not include a full legal description. So I have amended the resolution. All I have added is the legal description. which I believe on your copy is in red, so you can tell the only thing that's been changed, and all I've added is Section 30, Township 34, Range 33, and the following to it. I would ask that you approve it as amended, and at which time I will start over my 10-day notice to the owner, and then subsequently demolish the property if it's not handled by the owner.
All right, and I'll ask legal counsel, is that the only thing we have to start over is the 10-day waiting period? We don't have to redo mailings?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Make a motion, we can do the corrected resolution of 2272, adding full legal description.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Carlisle, and a second by Commissioner Harrison. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is agenda item number 8, which is airport terminal renovations update. We do have our airport manager, Debbie Giske.
Good evening, Your Honor and Commissioners. I had an opportunity to visit with Mark Hall this afternoon on the recent events of last week, and we received bids on the renovation of the airport terminal building. I need to apologize to the Commission that I forgot to mention that at our November 14 meeting, that they were expecting credits on their lease amounts until the total value of the renovations were depleted as far as zeroed out. So then I finally got a chance to talk to him today. The bids came in, $13,000 for the HVAC, $73,000 for the construction. That is $86,000 there. TSA, and talking with the gentleman at Cape Girardeau, Missouri, I was understanding him that it was going to be $70,000 to $80,000 just for the TSA. He said that was his total for the amount. So the TSA improvements are only going to be about $30,000. So that would bring it up to $116,000. Then I tried to get a quick amount on what 40 chairs would be for the holding area. That's going to be about $20,000 if you get groups of 3. That would bring it up to $136,000. I did not get an answer from the FAA this afternoon whether we could use land sale funds for that seating, but I will ask that question tomorrow. Hopefully she'll answer her phone then and we can get an answer. So without the seating would be $116,000, with it would be $136,000, and that would pretty much take care of all the improvements. So Mark and I discussed whether giving the credits, and I can tell you that the credits it'd be $15,825 a year for the lease, $15,600 approximately, depending on landings, how many they have during the month, whether it's 28 days or 31. We have now another $15,600, so we're talking roughly $31,000 some. The important issue here is
that's per year?
That's per year. So the important issue, they wanted to have all their credits done within the 2 years of their EAS grant contract. There's no way we could do that because the amount is too big. Secondly, we need to have that revenue in the airport revolving fund, or the airport, what's it called? Operation fund. We've budgeted that for revenue coming into our account. So if we were missing that $31,000, it would make an impact on our revenue for the budget for 2018 as we budgeted. So Mark and Chris were on the phone with me this afternoon. Mark suggested, why don't we fund this program ourselves, perhaps out of 1 cent sales tax, economic development portion, because it is a capital improvement to the building. Then we would fund it ourselves and then get the lease payments coming in from the airline. I did check with the airline and they would have no issue doing that. So I'm leaving it up to you whether or not that's the direction you want to go. They did start construction yesterday because SkyWest told them on Thursday afternoon when they left to go ahead and start construction. And the contractor, which is Knutson Enterprises, started yesterday. The counters are gone. We've got walls gone and that type of thing. So they're really getting after it. And I think we'll be on time for the flight to start on February 6th as it's going now. And I apologize again for not mentioning the credit on the lease payment. It was an oversight on my part. And it's an important oversight, but I did forget to mention that at the last meeting. Of course, I didn't know what the bid amount was going to be. And the other thing, the bid from Knutson for the carpeting, the painting, the tile, and you gave approval up to $40,000 on land sale. That bid came in at $39,985. That does not include the seating, of course, which I mentioned here. It does not include the big screen TV, but I think we can absorb that easily enough within the fund.
So, what you asking for?
Well, it's, Mark, I don't know what you recommend, if we should go with the seating also, and wait to see what, or go with a 116 and see if we can get the 20,000 for the seating, or that's up to you, because Mark and I didn't really get a chance to talk because I got that figure late this afternoon.
Let me ask you a question. Who approved the waiver of the landing fees and stuff? Did you do that?
No, that was what they were recommending that we do. They do that in some of the other airports when they make improvements. We never approved that. That's just something they were recommending. And the bid they were expecting was much lower than what it came in.
Well, I'm confused. You asked for $40,000 from the land sale fund. We approved that last
Yeah,
time.
that was for the city's portion of the project.
And now you're asking for $130,000 more from sales tax, I guess?
Well, 116,000. I'm not including the painting and all that. That was the 40,000. That was the city's portion. This is what SkyWest was going to do,
Okay.
and I didn't realize how much the bids were going to
I'm just having a little trouble here with all of this, trying to figure it out, because if they only last 2 years, we recover 62,000. Basically, is what we recovered. How much is in the land sale fund?
After this, it's pretty well going to be depleted.
So the 300 and almost 400,000 we got from the sale of the ball fields is all gone?
We bought a tractor and a mower. We've done the improvements to the standby fire truck. We paid for the improvements to the crash fire rescue vehicle that was not working, not functioning. You know, and other things before that I don't have written down.
Every expenditure we've made has been approved by the FAA,
yes, it has.
including this $40,000,
right.
Correct?
Right.
So all of this crap about FAA not approving what we've been doing is just that.
And I never said that they weren't approving. They do approve it if I can justify it, and I justify it through an email, and then I send the emails to Finance Department or in your packet.
Yeah. Well, I guess
that's what you're saying.
Still, my problem is we're putting another $130,000 to this project. The airport is important to this community, extremely important, and I don't think we have any choice but to go ahead and approve this. But
you want 120,000?
116 would be without the seating.
Without the seating.
Yeah, the seating, the biz with Tony McKee, he gave me a rough estimate of
I would recommend that the 136 figure.
Okay.
You'll need
And
seats.
should there be any remaining funds, that they be returned.
I'll make a motion to approve $136,000 to the airport terminal revocation.
Renovation.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, and I'll second that, but just for the sake of discussion here for a minute. But guys, somebody dropped the ball here. We should have had this discussion last meeting about this.
I didn't get the numbers until last week.
Well, I don't know anything about any of that.
Yeah.
My deal is we're kind of led down a path here with no way to retreat other than to do what we're going to do.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
A quick question. I'm thinking when they first modified the municipal airports to put the TSA equipment in, did the FAA and the TSA reimburse the municipal airports for that?
The TSA reimbursed it over a 10-year period, paying back the airport land sale for that on their lease payments.
So they don't do it now for new modern updates like this one? I don't mean like the seating and TVs and stuff, but their portion of it, they don't.
Well, and I have not got the final figure from TSA. I can tell you that Cape Girardeau in Missouri, he said he did contact someone with the TSA, and that they were doing the same thing as I said that they wanted for the renovation. They wanted credits on their lease payments for the TSA area, and that's what he was going to do. But I'm not asking for that again because we need the revenue in our department. But that's up to you. And the TSA is included in here. But again, if we find another source, then that'll be refunded to the sales tax.
City manager would like to speak.
What I'd like to do is Debbie firms up with the TSA, what's that? We'll treat that as old business, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. The next meeting, we'll bring that back to the commission, the result of the TSA.
I won't know at my next meeting. It could take up to 16 weeks is what they're telling me to get all the final numbers, because you have to have an architect and electrical, and then you go out to bid for the TSA approves contractors that will actually come in and relocate the equipment.
How are you going to have a flight out there on February the 6th if it takes that long?
We've got it worked out that we'll be able to.
TSA will be able to scan with their old equipment during...
They're still working, yeah. Everything's going to be functional. It's taken a lot of discussion, but we've got it made.
We'll see what we can find out by next meeting. It might not be anything, but we'll give the commission an update.
I apologize again for
I think we're between a rock and a hard place. We got to do it. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion approves 5-0. Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 9, which is the Prairie Breeze Subdivision Phase 3 zoning. Thank you, Debbie. Kevin Kirk.
Mayor, Commissioners, on November 9th, the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission reviewed a final plat of the Prairie View Subdivision Phase 3 addition. The owner of the property requests acceptance of the final plat of this property to allow construction of a new housing development that meets all the requirements of the City of Liberal. After reviewing the plat and discussion among the planners, it was the recommendation of the planners to forward this final plat, Prairie Breeze Subdivision, to the City Commission for acceptance of this plat. It is the recommendation of staff for the City Commission to accept Prairie Breeze Subdivision Phase 3.
Any questions for Mr. Kirk? Do you have a number of the housing that's supposed to go into the Phase 3?
Not right now, he don't. He has one spot open for a multifamily if he wishes. We did rezone this back, I believe, in May to an R3.
Have they, and then this may be a question for Karen, have they applied for any of the RHID, anything like that?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Any further questions?
Your Honor, I make a motion that we accept the Prairie Breeze Subdivision Phase 3 plat.
Second that.
Motion by Commissioner Harrison with a second by Commissioner Carlisle. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, Karen, you're up. Agenda item number 10, 2018 Housing Programs, Housing and Community Development.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. At this time every year, we go through our housing programs for approval to begin in January. At this time, I'll tell you about the new construction single-family housing incentive. Any homeowner building a new house can apply for $5,000. First-time homebuyer program, we give $2,500 in down payment assistance to first-time homebuyers. Safe at Home, we provide smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors to Liberal residents. Senior housing, we have 3 programs: emergency repair, weatherization, and exterior enhancement, and they can apply for 1 a year. Paint the Town, we do not have any income restrictions on that anymore, and we're doing quite a few. $350 for paint and supplies, and we do that from April through September. Self-help housing, that's expenses covered, not covered by the grant. We don't usually do too much with that, but we do have it in our budget. And a program expense account that we do books and things for the home buyer programs and file deeds and soft mortgages with that. And I don't have on here, we have done some RHID this year, and we present those as they come in. Department of Commerce grant, we're looking at maybe being funded for that in January. And Union Pacific, we got an $8,000 grant this year. The programs for approval are on the list.
This is basically the same stuff you presented at budget time, correct?
Yes, yeah. And yeah, I think you approve it at budget time also.
And it looks like people are utilizing these funds. You know, with the one exception, the single family, with a little low there, but we get a industry, we could see that explode as well. So good programs.
We do. We help hundreds of people every year with our grants through these programs.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the 2018 housing programs as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Harrison, second by Commissioner Carlisle. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Karen. And I appreciate you getting the word out, especially to the seniors at the senior center, about the senior housing programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 11, submersible pumps for the wastewater department. Mr. Williams.
Just a second while Kenny's coming up here.
Come on, Kenny.
Karen, Doug's having surgery?
Yeah.
Okay.
You better get up to the hospital.
Gallbladder.
What?
Doctors found somebody in Liberal that didn't have that still had a gallbladder.
Mayor, commissioners,
Both of you?
I'm just here for moral support.
So we're on the tag team.
Bodyguard.
A while back, we had a discussion with Mark about wanting to purchase another submersible pump for the headworks building, or for the headworks. And that's to replace one of the screw pumps in case one of them goes completely down where it's non-repairable, like what had happened to the first screw pump that we've got out there. And right now, we just now got the second screw pump that had went down because of the, I would say the flood or the high influent flow that we had during this high rain that we had. The lower bearings went out in it, and we finally got it repaired and back up and running again. But me and Calvin and my supervisor sat down and talked, and we thought that it would be to our benefit if we could purchase another submersible pump and put it on hand, or not, put it in, just to have it, just in case something drastically happened to one of the screw pumps. And I'd rather be safe than sorry, because if we have another screw pump go down, I'd rather have a backup somewhere than have a catastrophe on their hands. I was wondering if it'd be all right if we could go ahead and purchase that screw pump, or submersible pump, for the amount of
Need all of this.
$34,850.
And one of the reasons for buying it early, we found out from the last submersible, the lead time to get the pump was 4 months. And then by the time we actually got it installed, that screw pump was down 6 months. And we really can't afford to be in that position in the wintertime.
So what all you're asking for right now is just the pump?
The pump and the piping.
And
the electronics for the run it.
I mean,
these each were
just like what we'd have right now is if it was hooked up.
Right.
So it's a $70,000 request, basically? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's pretty much it's about the same amount as what it cost for the last one.
And how much, where's this money coming from?
It would come from their equipment reserve and wastewater.
Yep.
And the airport landing fees, I can tell you.
Guys, I know I spent a lot of money this year.
No, but Kenny, see, the thing that worries me is we're several years from construction of a new plant, and you have another screw pump go down. I said we're years away from a new plant. We cannot afford to have another screw pump go down. We cannot, or we will be screwed, literally. I'm sorry.
And these two submersibles are designed to be able to move over to the new plant.
Okay, because you're running on 2 right now, correct?
Yeah.
And you grow the community. I mean, as we're growing now, we need that wastewater plant running as efficiently as possible until we can get that new plant built. And like I said, we've not even finalized plans, and I do appreciate the new commission visiting with the liaison, Commissioner Harrison, so they could all be brought up to speed. But we got to get this thing moving. I mean, we can't afford to have
yes, we do.
the problems that would happen if we had another pump go down.
The nice thing about this isn't a great big shock. You guys brought this up at budget time, that it might be something that would come sooner rather than later, and I appreciate what you're trying to do here. I think you're erring on the side of safety for
I'd rather
people here.
have all my ducks in a row instead of sitting back with my legs propped up, waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, better be proactive than reactive, so.
Make a motion, we approve the submersible pump from whatever line for $34,850. Installation from Walters Irrigation for $26,023. Electrical B&B Electric for $10,000. Total amount of $60,873.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Carlisle, a second by Vice Mayor Martinez. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
I think.
Thanks for keeping it running.
We need to amend that motion. I think the dollar figure is $70,873.
Okay.
Calculators.
Yeah, calculator screwed up.
All right, so amend the motion.
Yeah, I'm in the motion.
Second. All those in favor of the new dollar amount? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
$70,000.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Hibbs property, economic development, Mr. Parsons, and I believe Mr. Hibbs is here as well. I did see him. There he is, okay. Hiding in the corner.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, as you see in your packet, back in 1981, Gene and Virginia Hibbs deeded to the city a 20-foot strip of property in their development that they intended to have used as an alley. Years go by, that alley was never created, never used. It's just a drawing on a piece of paper. But today, that little strip of property that the city owns in their addition is causing a problem in getting their IRB issue closed for the county to finance their building. The solution for this problem is just for the city to deed back that property to the Hibbs. And to that end, Shirley's prepared a deed. We just need to execute that deed and get the property back to the Hibbs and solve their problem.
It's not even in the city limits, correct?
It is not,
So,
no.
Can we sell it back to you?
Look at us, we work for food.
I'll make a motion, we give Mr. Hibbs the 20-foot strip of property or whatever
Yeah, in the Hibbs edition.
in the Hibbs edition, back to, what's your mother or you, whatever? Hibbs Transport, okay.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Carlisle, a second by Commissioner Harrison. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Slow down, Dean. Motion carries 5-0.
You're running out of medicine.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, stay where you're at, Jeff, with the 2018 Economic Development Programs with Mr. Parsons.
Mayor and Commissioners, just like Karen, every year we try to come to you and review some of the programming that we're going to do for the upcoming year. For 2018, we wanted to talk to you about some of the programming we're going to be doing. The first program, the Industrial Park Incentive Program, which within our 2 industrial parks gives an incentive of $500 for each new job created. This year we intend to put $60,000 into that fund. Facade Improvement Program, this is a program that's gone for probably close to 10 years now, maybe even a little bit longer than that. It's kind of ebbed and flowed, and we've made some expansion to the footprint. Last year I think we did 2 facades. It just wasn't getting much use. So this year I want to propose to you that we expand that program to any business that's in a commercial zone, C1, C2, C3, and make every commercial business essentially in town eligible for this program. we'd like to expand the budget to, hopefully accommodate that to 100,000. 50,000 is what we budgeted for it last year.
And they must collect sales tax.
Yes.
Just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, no not-for-profit, no churches, no government buildings would be eligible for it. Another program that we've done from time to time.
Just a real quick question on the
Sure.
facade program. Was it the facade program, or was it the Paint the Town program that provided the paint for the pink building on Main Street? I'm just
for the what?
The pink building south of the.
That was the facade.
So
we have rules now that
you might want to check that. You might want to check that pretty pink building out.
Well, that was before my time.
No, that's brand new. That's brand new. Just popped up last 2 weeks. Okay.
Pink paint. So, beautification program is for landscaping work. We pay 20% of project up to $20,000 for a maximum of $4,000 per project. That footprint still has the original footprint. Kansas Avenue, Pancake Boulevard, Kansas Avenue stops at 11th Street. Those are the ones that are most readily visible. We get very little play on this program, so we put 16,000 in it this year. We probably haven't done 16,000 the entire history of the program. So, maybe we just need to get up and talk it up a bit. But
it's available to existing. New construction, that is part of their obligation on new construction.
Right. The new construction multifamily housing program, which a few years ago you guys approved for $300,000 per year for 3 years. There still is $450,000 left in that account. There'll be no new money added to it this year, but as a reminder, this is the first year we haven't funded that, and the idea was that we would carry this program forward until that budget was used up. And we've got several projects kind of in the middle now that we'll be using this project, and actually a couple on the books looking forward to some new stuff too. So.
And that is $3,000 per door.
Correct.
On apartments or multifamily.
Multifamily, duplex, and up. So. Okay. Our marketing program takes care of advertising, print. If we don't want to do any changes and things to the website, we'd like to put $20,000 into that. And then a couple of additions this year we'd like to try and do. SkyWest starts their flights in February, and it's my opinion that this is so important to our economic development that we need to do everything we can to see that this succeed. I think they will on their own, just because they're such a well-run outfit and it's such a good service. But we would like, they're going to spend $20,000 in 2018, and I would like to see us match that money. We would spend it the way we see fit. We're not going to just write SkyWest a check, but match their
co-op stuff.
Right. Yeah. To see that they are successful in getting this thing off the ground, because they've talked about doing some additional things if things go well, so which would be tremendous to see. And then finally, spent a lot of my life in the last few years working on trying to attract a chicken plant. We have used the same site now on 2 different occasions, and what I would like to do would be to continue work on that site as they consider that manufacturing, but manufacturing/industrial site. Kansas does not do what they call certify sites, but states like Iowa, North Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, they do certify sites. And essentially what happens is that you go out and you do some of the preliminary work that a company would have to do anyway. You do phase 1 environmentals, you do some preliminary engineering for utilities, for roads, for railroads, for wastewater, power, and those kind of things. And I would like to move forward with kind of our own version of certifying that site. I think that would make that site much more marketable. Whether it be a poultry plant or, a pork plant or a pet food plant or beef plant or whatever, I think that would make that a much more marketable. The idea is that you shave off months of time that they have to work on that to make it a viable project. So honestly, don't know how much it's going to cost. I'd like to budget $25,000 for that. The engineering will get pretty expensive, but I think it's one of those things where you could probably spend as much money as you wanted to on it. But I think in talking, I just ran this idea past Pete and the numbers, and he said we can get a really good start on it for that $25,000. And so I would like to ask for that, and then begin to work on getting that site, I don't know, liberal certified, I guess you call it, I don't know.
Any questions for Mr. Parsons on the economic development programs for 2018?
Make a motion to approve all of the 2018 economic development programs.
Motion by Commissioner Carlisle. Second by Commissioner Aragon. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thanks,
Jim. Thank you, Jim.
Very much. Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is city vehicle purchases.
Mayor, Commissioners, I know you're aware, since 2008 and the recession, in fact, there was a year where we couldn't afford to purchase any vehicles, but it has at the end of the year, and we've talked to some of the dealers, that it is one of those we could possibly obtain the lowest and best price at the end of the year. So with that, we conducted the needs assessment of what we needed to replace during the years, including 17, but also in 2018. It will, in a sense, by doing this, will help the 2018 and ongoing years in the budget. We right now have equipment reserve. It's been brought up. I believe it was a low of 300,000 at one time and a high of about 1.8, 1.9 thousand. During this recession, we've had to use it very wisely. With this and going forward, we would make the emphasis, because in our budget, contained in your approval, is funds to be put back into the equipment reserve as part of our budget. And we would continue to do so, but those that are left over as we go forward would actually be building that count stronger for the future. And that, I think, is the wisest. I know there is some pictures, and you can see pretty much duct tape and baling wire is what we've kept these with. It is after looking at the vehicle summary and quotes. As you can see, it turned out that a local dealer was the low bidder. And he did compete against, I even believe, the Ram state contract, and was successful. So a lot went into this. We are asking through, and it's broken up. We are going to do some that the body is still in what it's being used for. We will actually go and put in a new transmission, a new engine, instead of paying for another vehicle. So that is included in that. It also, there is on the building maintenance is a tool storage system, and that is not to exceed 5,000. And then, like I say, the repair of vehicles that we feel that we, and what they're used for, it's better for us to put in an engine and a transmission at a lower cost than to go out and seek a new pickup. And that's why you see the fleet repairs not to exceed 20,000. So we hope to, in that, repair 2 vehicles and bring that instead of coming to the commission for $40-some thousand just to replace that. There is in a need, it is one of those, contained in that portion, I believe totals 200 and...
It's right there.
There we go. Nay would be 257,000 from the equipment reserve and 22,650 from the convention visitors and visitors bureau fund that would replace that van. With this, as we go along, do understand that vehicles that we have, we will be moving those that are still good. And so we will move those down and non-repairable will be basically sold for junk. We can't get anything for them. I think that outlines kind of what you've got before you. There's an A, B, and C. And I think they're self-explanatory, but if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Does the Commission have any questions for City Manager?
We are replacing 13 vehicles, right?
Yes, sir.
Not adding 13 to the fleet.
Beg your pardon?
And not adding 13 to the fleet.
Not adding 13 to the fleet,
No,
replacing
you can see
them,
what
correct?
we're replacing.
Yeah, no.
Well, in a sense, there'll be some we're going to repair, but you're going to have roughly, I think that's close to 13 going bye-bye to the junkyard.
These ones that got in the picture.
I will tell you right now, they will not necessarily go to the junkyard because I've watched these guys before. They'll patch something together and make it go.
If there's anything that we can use on some of the lesser.
How much is in the equipment reserve fund as of today?
As of today, just a little under 1.3 million.
But we got a lot of stuff to come out of that we've already approved, I think. So some loaders and stuff, right? That's coming out of there.
And that was after tractors, mowers, and...
That was after that, after
Yes.
the tractors and mowers came out.
Current balance.
Then
This is the current balance right here.
Of course, then we had some FEMA money that reimbursed. I mean, we spent it, but we reimbursed it with FEMA money. That went back in equipment reserve as well. So-
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to purchase 13 vehicles from Chrysler Corner, composed of 9 half-ton pickups, 1 3/4-ton pickup, 1 1-ton pickup chassis, and 2 minivans in a total amount of $279,737 to be funded by $257,087 from the City Equipment Reserve Fund and $22,650 from the Convention and Visitor Bureau Fund.
We have a motion on, and a second motion by Commissioner Harrison, second by Vice Mayor Martinez on agenda item, that would be number 14A. Any further discussion? I just would like to say, I don't know when you left Seward County Road Department, but I was driving a vehicle similar to what you see in these pictures when I was in an automobile accident due to mechanical failure of the vehicle, which should have taken my life. I would hate for a city employee to be in an accident because a tie rod end broke, something happened. So I think this is necessary, and I would like to apologize that you guys have had to drive pieces of equipment like this for so many years. I know money was tight, and we told you don't spend it if you absolutely don't have to, but this is almost to the point of a safety issue. So I think this is a common sense approval here on this.
I can tell you, one of these, this Dodge pickup in '94, when I started with the city, I drove for 2 years.
That gold one?
It's still in process. And the white Ford that I got in '96 came from the water department. I drove it, it went to the parks department, to the beautification, and now Danny's guys are driving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys get handy that.
You know, not, do we own a vacuum and a dust drag? I mean, when people take care of the equipment, it does last longer.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those on 14A that approve in favor of, motion carries 5-0. Now 14B. 14B. That would be the...
Your Honor, I make a motion to purchase a hydraulic dump bed for the 1-ton pickup chassis from Kansas Truck, Wichita, Kansas, in the amount of $9,544.70 to be funded from the City Equipment Reserve Fund.
Right, and the Kansas Truck does have a liberal facility as well, so I just want to make that point. Do we have a motion by Commissioner Harrison?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Martinez. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 14C.
Where's Kansas Truck here?
Well, the one that we're going for is in Wichita, Kansas Truck.
But
It's in Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, it's not.
But doesn't Kansas Truck have an office here anymore?
No.
They closed it down?
Yep.
I did not know that. That was on South Kansas, right there by the mall, wasn't it?
It was in Hibbs' place.
Freightliner.
Yeah, Freightliner.
Freightliner.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought we had a Kansas Truck.
Your Honor, I make a motion to equip the building maintenance pickup with a tool storage system in the amount not to exceed $5,000 to be funded from the City Equipment Reserve Fund.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Harrison, second by Commissioner Carlisle. Any further discussion? Favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 14D.
Your Honor, I make a motion to repair existing city vehicles to the extent their useful lives in an amount not to exceed $20,000 to be funded from the City Equipment Reserve Fund.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Harrison and Commissioner Carlisle again. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, agenda item number 15, which is the rescheduling of the commission meeting date from Tuesday, January the 9th to Monday, January the 8th. And I believe this is due to the election law changes where new commissioners will be sworn in on the second Monday of the month of January.
Yes, sir.
Sworn in and sworn out.
Because once the new commission is sworn in, the old commission cannot take a seat, so we would not be able to conduct old business, anything like that. So we'd have to move the meeting to do that. So do we have a motion to reschedule that meeting?
I'll make the motion to reschedule
Vice Mayor Martinez.
From the 9th to January the 8th.
And it's still at the 5:30 time. And a second by Commissioner Aragon. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Final item, well, I guess sales tax presentation number 6. We do have a couple other items, but
Tell him make it quick.
we got the vouchers and that stuff, yeah. Oh, we saved you for last.
You have 5 minutes. Search your timer.
Mayor, Commissioners, I will rock it through this.
Okay, I'm starting the timer.
I know you're familiar with this. We started with each presentation. One thing I would like to point out before we go further is looking at economic development tonight. Remember that it is figured that 1/3 of the sales tax comes from outside the city limits. Therefore, the more we attract or more that we have to offer in the city of Liberal, the more that outside people fund our improvements. This was just a vision that you've seen before from 1994 of what the founders or the people that started the sales tax had envisioned for the future of the sales tax, not knowing what we would collect or what it could be used for. A reminder of in the 2010, it was the first time that the sales tax question was posed to the public, and it passed. As you can see, this is the Daily Leader at that time, passed 82%. I think that indicates that what is being done, if you read Mr. Wilbur's comments in those, that the sales tax is being utilized properly, and that the public, which the greatest percentage of approval, passed 82%. The economic portion of the sales tax is 15%. That was adjusted over time, and what we saw, what was going up and down you saw housing increase, you had the streets, drainage, and capital improvements increase, and then you had some adjustments to crime prevention and beautification. But economic development is 15%. This is the 1994 suggestions from citizens of Liberal for improving our city. As you can see, in 1994, the goal was our current base and retaining, and I just wanted to point out that the responsibility was felt at that time, Seward County Joint Economic Development Council. That is something that we continually do. It's something involved in every day for Jeff, but it is ongoing. If you look at goal number 2, heavy use industrial park, we have that, and we have 2 industrial parks available. We have one on the east side and one out by the airport on the west side. If we look at goal number 3, this was from Focus on the Future in the meeting. The responsibility for number 3 was put on Southwest Medical Center Board of Directors. It wasn't put on the city, but it is one of those that we work well with Southwest Medical Center. We participated in their bond issue. We had our meetings and staff available to them, but a strong Southwest Medical Center, a medical facility, is part of the things that make the community desirable for others. If you look at goal number 4, is the labor pool, and this was the responsibilities were put on USD 480, back at that time, the VOTEC, Seward County Community College, and of course JADC, which is Joint Economic Development. The goal is to get them to work in improving the workforce, and I will discuss that later, but this was the responsibility put on those entities and not necessarily economic development. Goal number 5, and I'm going to take a little time because it was reported in the paper that we weren't following this. First, when I came on board, 1994, the sales tax had been in effect for 12 years. So during that 12 years, there is a reason why this goal number 5 wasn't done. It was largely due to the fact of money, and the other is that if you built such a building, how could you find an exact business that would go in? There was airport issues, but the driving force, and the reason it wasn't done is the expense that would be put into, and at that time, it was estimated that you would put in roughly building the road, doing the improvements, and the regular building is amount of $2 million. That's why you see for 12 years it had never been done. We have a member that's on Focus on the Future Committee that was actually a city commissioner and was well aware that's why that wasn't done. So I just want to address that the city always looks to expand and do things, but there is things that, you know, we're responsible, the city commission, how it's spent. And this just opened itself up to that if you had that building, would somebody come in and need cranes? Would somebody come in and say, all I need is 10,000 feet of that building? So there was too many questions, and that's why that was never done. Number 6, if you look at the responsibilities down there, who's responsible for recruiting additional recreation and entertainment, that was JADC. But it is, the 6 has had the quality of life, and I think that says for economic development is there's more to it than just trying to get a business here. If we go through and we look at 2,000 suggestions, you can see they're either ongoing or most are done. There was one of those that recruit the first-class restaurant, Applebee's and Chili's and Whiskey Creek and those. those are out of our control. Those are franchised usually. It is one of those that the more attractive you make your city, the more investors from even outside, and we can talk to Pizza Hut, that having headquarters here, but their investment is other places besides Liberal. So it is taking those and trying to do the best that we can to accomplish every item, and if you look at, most of those are either ongoing, we hope to, and I think that's what Jeff alluded to, there is a hope of trying to get a flight to Dallas. We've always tried that, we will always try for that, but it is ongoing. If you look at 2010 suggestions, big boxes, well, I think as I go through this presentation, you'll see we've got a shot at that. And we know that there's 60 to 70 million going to be spent. But you go down through, and as you can see, we do look at these lists, and we do check them off as we accomplish them. If you look on the other side, ongoing, renovations at the airport, industrial park, and the Liberal industrial park. But all the others have been done also. I put this slide in because this is, of all agencies, is from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and they have a division that is for small community development. And this is one of the important slides that they use in smart growth economic development, but the reason I have that is to explain that supporting business is a part of the pie. Supporting workers, you have to have workers if you're going to have a business. And also, a key factor is supporting quality of life. When you take those and you do smart growth, which is in the center, all of these relate. Because if you do not have workforce, you will not have business. And if you do not have quality of life, you will not have the supporting workers or the business. Businesses look at, and as it says in there, businesses do look at crime prevention, crime rate. Before they invest their dollars, they want to know what kind of community they are going to come into. They want to be profitable. They have to have workers. Well, to get workers, you have to give them quality of life. It's not simple, pick up the phone and call somebody and say you need to be here tomorrow and start your business. Invest millions of dollars. They're going to come and look at all these factors before they invest. And one good example is the chicken that we worked at. The biggest worry that they had was a workforce. If we put our plant, 1,100 workers at that time, where are they going to come from? And one thing, if you switch over to this other quality of life that you look at, that Jeff constantly has to watch, is that you have to have something besides just a plant to get workers to live here and work here. So all of those is what makes up economic development and smart growth. I have a reminder up here that in 2006, we were the second highest crime rate per capita. If you go back to this slide, that will not get us any of that. That will not get any investment in Liberal. And if you look at large investment, Liberal's 1888 is when we came into existence. And as we go through here, we had no local investment that is now looking at, from local investors, of $60 to $70 million. But these people believe in Liberal, and they believe in the direction that it's going. So, that's just a reminder. One of the things that have been done, I pointed out in the police department, we actually in 2007 got ranked number 24th in Kansas as being the safest city. This is what attracts us. The other thing I'd like to point out, that in Jeff's mission to change the economic climate in here, we didn't have tools. We didn't know how to use those tools. And these are the things that have been brought that we use now. At tax increment finance, which is being used up north, special assessment, community improvement district, rural housing incentive district, industrial revenue bonds, property tax abatement, star bonds, all those, and continue down there, those are all tax incentives. The things that you hear, small communities do not have a pot of gold to throw at somebody. It is one of those that is the biggest thing that drives industry to come into our state, into our towns, is through tax incentives. And those are utilized by all. That goes to the bottom line, and since there is money to them. The next is, these are sales tax incentives that Jeff has can utilize, but as you go through those, these are tools that we use locally. And this is with the assistance of the sales tax. But part of what Jeff does is a mixture of all those, and if they can work to get somebody here, he will use all those. But the state works closely with us because the state has to prove all tax incentives. We cannot do that. That has to go before the State Board of Tax Appeals. It has to be approved from them, and it comes back. But the bottom line is that the business gets the financial reward for coming here. It's not simply that you say, if you come here, I'll give you $1 million. Cities do not have that. That's why incentives are used. Now, if you had a large automobile plant, the state might even cough up some money of their money. But as far as us, these are the things that we do not have, but we have this. And Jeff is utilized to bring those here. It is one of those, this was just 2016, the Departmental Achievements, Economic Development. There's just some things that they did that year. 20 new businesses started. Not to say this is Jeff doing the whole thing, but we had 20 businesses. We had 6 facade. We had over 23,000 riders on our bus. And that was one of the, I guess, suggestions that we had and focus on the future meetings. But you can see these other things and incentives, but this was our 2016 departmental achievements. I'm going to finish up, keeping it short. Right now you have, in this commission, you have a $60 to $70 million retail and commercial development going in the north. That is something that I will say, talking to National Beef, I've talked to others, is they sit there and they go, you know, that's really a big plus for us in getting workers. Because with that development up there, that quality of life issue comes in. And that's where workers want to move to Liberal. Those go to businesses. Those are what we need as more workers, more investment in housing, these type of things. That $60 to $7 million retail and commercial investment is really like the chicken and the egg. Oh, we'd love to have an industrial plant. But if you look to our north, what happened after the retail development is they got a dairy plant. It was a quality of life issue. This is an opportunity that you, the commission, have set in motion with incentives, tax incentives in those, and what magic will it do? We've already seen, you've seen, Prairie's come to town. There is going to be another come to town and open up in the very near future. It's not even involved in this $60 to $70 million. Yet IHOP come into town. These developments, you have now not just one, but you're going to have 2 conference centers. 2 conference centers. And that was through Gilmore Bell assisted Jeff in developing that policy with the bed tax rebate. But it is one of those that just alone sets things in motion for economic development. Jeff had to sell out of an empty wagon. He had the second highest crime rate per capita in the state of Kansas. He had parks that weren't developed. He had all these things of quality of life, which is in that circle, and he had to try to sell liberal. But what has been done over these years is to make liberal the city of choice. You, the commission, have read that over State of the City time and time and time again. By making it the city of choice, we attract workers and we attract investors. And every park, every ball field, everything that's done gets us moving forward to being the best we can be. I did, and I'll sum it up. I had the 10 million. I was talking about the Fairfield Inn in the conference center down there. They gave a chance. That started really back in 2006. They came forward, saw the investment working, and they've done fantastic. You will have a conference there, center. But this part right here is the most interesting part, is the new retail and commercial businesses coming. There are people that are showing up and knocking at the door, and it's not just for up north. They're wanting to go to older buildings, older, and fill them. And that's something special. They want to be here. They've asked for no incentives to be here. They want to be here, and they feel they can be profitable. And what is so fantastic is Jeff can go out to that manufacturing or industrial and say, come look at our city. Look what's going on. We've got everything. And if you talk to the hospital, the thing I used to always love, and I won't say his name, and dear friend, but it is, all the doctors is, where's your shopping? I just don't like liberal. It's the spouse, be it male or female, there's no shopping, there's nothing to do. Well, they're going to have something to do. And they're going to have those things. And people will want to come. It is, I quote this down here, and I put this in last, is a comment from a commissioner as he was leaving the commission. And it is, what he basically says is with our second highest crime rate per capita and over 30,000 zip codes in the United States, why would they want to come to 67901? Why? We compete with every investment business for his dollars to put it into liberal. The last line, and I think that, and we say that each of them, because to me it's the most important thing to us. This is what carries us through, and it carries Jeff through economic development when he's sitting there now, got something to sell about this city, is this is a historic time for liberal. What we are building today sends a message for tomorrow. Thousands of people will watch us. We must tell them we can make a difference, we will make a difference. And that's what economic has done. I'm keeping it short, I carried it a little long. Joe, you've got to go. But I'm very proud what is happening in liberal. And when you go talk to these, and I know you've been up to old Chicago, when you talk to those investors, they'll tell you the same thing. Liberal is great to work with. And they're excited about going to phase 2. And in fact, I think that phase 2 will come quicker than we even thought. So that's the economic development. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you, commissioners, for all that you've done.
You know, I had the opportunity Sunday night to visit with the investors in the $60 to $70 million project, not just the ones from Southwest Kansas, but the ones that have come in from the East Coast that are spending a lot of the money. And that was the one comment was how good the city was to work with. Very seamless, and they are excited about the next phase of their project. So it's going to be an exciting time over the next several years to sit back and watch Liberal continue to not only grow in retail, but also in jobs as well. So city staff, the Economic Development Department has done a tremendous job. Everybody working as a team, so thank you. Next item up on the agenda is the city manager's report.
Mayor, commissioners, just want to thank staff. We are working, I think Daniel, we're hoping the weather holds, and we will continue to finish on Kansas Avenue.
We're hoping to be done on Friday. Maybe they'll have a little bit left for Saturday.
Okay. But it's moving, we're getting closer. The north end, just want to explain to commissioners, due to weather and the uncertainty, we are going to postpone that from Tucker to the entrance or exit of the city. Should we get a 4-day window, and we had to make this decision, a 4-day window, we will contact everybody, IHOP, everybody, the old Chicago, this stuff. We'll contact them and we will proceed with their understanding. They are aware that we will have to get this done before spring.
Is that just a mill and overlay?
Yes.
Strictly?
Yes,
Yeah.
So it should be 3 to 4 days, but we wanted to sit there. We had to make that decision. We've discussed this with J&R Sand, and J&R Sand understands if we get that window, which could be, in January, could be in February. If we get that window, we will go up and finish that.
And that was another thing that they'd said they understood and they were okay with that, so.
Except for the old interest on 83 Dow is like, I would say maybe like 180 feet, 200 feet. It's going to have to come all the way out because it's alligator really bad.
Right.
That's the only thing it's going to have to replace from scratch. The rest of it is overlay.
They could actually do the mill and overlay though, and then do that some other time too, so.
Right. Any questions for the city manager? All right, the next item is items from commissioners. We'll start with Commissioner Aragon.
Don't have much, just like to thank Chief Sill and Liberal Police Department. This means a lot. I really appreciate that very much. It's been a really good experience with Kelly and his group too, and all the departments. And I talked to some of the Pinnacle group also last night. They are excited. It's really good to see what they want to do here. And just thank the city staff and wish all of you a very Merry Christmas.
Commissioner Carlisle.
Rita, I want to tell you thank you for coming to all the meetings. You make it exciting. I'd like to thank all the city employees for their years of service. You've done a good job.
Commissioner Harrison.
I just echo what Dean and Jack have said. I think the city staff is an outstanding group of people, and I think we're very, very fortunate to have the folks that we have, including our city manager. And I can't thank you all enough for what you do for us every day. And I see Frank back there. And did you get a 10-year award?
Yes.
10 years ago. Anyway, what an outstanding group of people, and Chief, I really appreciate the award too. That's nice that you guys, and you've done an outstanding job with your department. Couldn't be prouder of what you've accomplished since you've been here and been the chief. I guess that's it, Joe.
All right, Vice Mayor Martinez.
First of all, I want to thank you three that are outgoing Joe, Dave, and Dean for what you taught me so far, and I'm still learning, so appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also was at Sunday's event at the Old Chicago and talking to the investors, and they're excited about going across the street, they were kept saying, and I want to thank them for investing in our town, from local to out-of-town money, you know. So, and also want to give a little thanks to the fire department. My grandson was with me this weekend, and he wanted to go see a fire truck, and they made his day. He got to get on a fire truck and got him a helmet and a badge, and he didn't want to take it off all weekend. So thank you, guys. And also city staff, you guys are, as long as the weather's holding up, everything's looking good and things are moving along. So appreciate your hard work and effort. So
hey, and shout out to Sheena and her new son. Her and Jason's new son.
Congratulations on new baby.
Thank you. I too want to echo the sentiments. Want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Do want to remind people of the reason for the season. That is the birth of the Christ child. I want to thank the Pinnacle Group and those others that are going to be coming to Liberal in the next few months, next year or so. It's going to be an exciting time to see some of the old buildings that have sat empty and dormant, to see some of those already being refurbished, and it's going to be exciting to see those with viable businesses in them again. I want to thank Liberal Rec Department, Mid-America Air Museum Foundation, Liberal Memorial Library, all the organizations that came out Saturday. 13, correct me if I'm wrong, 1,300 and almost 1,400 people?
1348.
1348, I knew I was close, but anyway, 1348 came out for the Christmas blast. Already looking at bigger facilities for next year, but it was a wonderful event again for the community, and thanks to Rufino's Restaurant. I believe when you put on events like that, it takes a lot of volunteers, and I know Rufino's provided a meal for all those volunteers, so I don't know if you knew that yet, Jack, or not, but
the boss is down there.
But the boss did. The boss knew. So, but anyway, thank you guys for volunteering. And then I would just would like to close by.
I'm the mushroom.
You're the mushroom. We've lost some leaders here in our community over the last couple of weeks. Dale Sprague. I don't know, a lot of you knew Dale Sprague. He was a teacher at the high school, I believe, for a lot of years. Also a member of the Chamber of Commerce, Chamber Ambassadors for a long time. Randy Malin, County Commissioner, lost his wife after a long battle with cancer. And then Friday, I believe it was Friday, former County Commissioner Joyce Hibbler. She also passed away. Her funeral will be Thursday, 10 o'clock, First Baptist Church. And then one of note, not that anybody is any better than the others, but there was a lady that was the former mayor of this town that led the way with not only the Air Museum, but with Dorothy's House, the Land of Oz, Depot renovation. She had her hand in every good thing that went on. Phyllis Wendell passed away a couple of days ago, and she will be greatly missed by family and by friends. And I just want to wish condolences to the family of all of these individuals, and just remind everybody that time is fleeting and life is short. Love those around you, and cherish every moment you have. And that's all that I have. Next item is the vouchers.
I would like to make a motion, we approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,256,321.61.
Motion by Commissioner Aragon. Is there a second? Second by Vice Mayor Martinez. Any further discussion on the vouchers? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is adjournment.
So moved.
You want to stay for another?